Most gardeners have a healthy collection of seed packets. We're trained to place our orders a couple months before the growing season and rely on these seeds to fill our garden. But did you know that you have a secret seed collection already in your house, which can grow you tons of cool stuff that you otherwise might overlook? Let's talk about how you can grow free food this season just by opening your pantry. I use a lot of spices when I'm cooking, so I've built myself a pretty solid stash. It wasn't until I made some corned beef a couple of St. Patrick's days ago that it hit me. Much of what I have in here is seeds. I wonder if any will grow. No, of course, a lot of the spices that we buy at the store are already ground, so there's no growing those. But some of the bottles that you have hanging out on your spice rack are filled with whole seeds. Like these coriander seeds. I like to use ground coriander in some recipes, and I find that it always tastes the freshest when I grind the coriander seeds myself. But I also use a lot of fresh cilantro, and for those of you who don't know, cilantro is coriander. Coriander is cilantro. The same goes for these fennel and mustard seeds. In theory, these seeds should grow plants. Just know that there could be some limitation with the types of plants that you're growing. If you order seeds from a catalog, you get your pick of specific varieties, all with special write-ups about flavor and growing conditions, disease resistance, etc. Your spice bottles don't tell you what variety the seeds are. In fact, they don't really tell you that much. All you really know is what plant you could grow. So if you decide to grow plants from your spice rack, just know that there are going to be some limitations. For fennel, you're unlikely to grow bulb-type fennel, also known as Florence fennel or Finocchio. The fennel seeds that spice companies use for their products is almost always what's called seed fennel. Makes sense. The plants that you're going to be able to grow from your spice rack fennel seeds, you'll be able to eat the leaves, the flowers, and the seeds. Just don't expect to grow bulb fennel. And as long as you're aware of and okay with these potential limitations, you're good to grow. Pun. Once you've raided the pantry, all that's left to do is to get your seeds sown. While I was at it, I decided to grab some chickpeas as well and give them a shot. And when it comes to sowing your seeds, it's really no different than what you normally do, whether you are starting them indoors or you're direct sowing them out in the garden, with one very important caveat: germination rate. You're actually liable to find that a decent portion of your spice seeds never sprout. And that makes sense, because remember, these seeds weren't grown, harvested, and processed in order to grow plants. They're meant to be eaten as food. And as such, they haven't gone through the same journey as the seeds that you'll find in some of your favorite seed catalogs. For example, things like temperature control, there's probably no management to speak of. And quite honestly, there's really no telling how old these seeds actually are. If you're starting these indoors, grab a tray and fill it with a good quality pre-moistened seed starting or potting mix. You can use cells if you want, but I actually find that a non-sectioned flat works out pretty well here. I like to use aluminum baking pans. When it comes to sowing, the solution is to overseed. Remember, the germination rates aren't likely to be the same that you experience from seed companies. But each $4 bottle has tons of seeds, and you're not going to use all of these, so that's way more seeds than you'd ever get in a $4 seed packet, so it's not like you're throwing money away. Sow the seeds in rows, and you'll be able to get multiple seed types in the same tray. Just make sure that you label them so you know what's what. Also make sure that you read up on the seeds so you know which ones need to be buried versus which ones need light in order to germinate. For example, if you're going to grow dill seed, you have to make sure not to cover them up and give them a little bit of light so they'll sprout. Once your seeds are sown, give them a good spritz with a water bottle so they're nice and moistened. And then add a plastic dome to your tray. This is another reason why I really like using baking tins. The ones that I buy actually come with a plastic lid that I can use as a humidity dome. And then transfer the finished tray to a heat mat so the soil can get nice and warm and activate germination. For the chickpeas, I used some upcycled yogurt containers instead of a tray since the seeds are a bit bigger. I just grabbed 4 pots and filled them with pre-moistened soil and planted 2 chickpeas per pot. I didn't add a cover to these pots, but I guess I could have added some plastic wrap with a couple of holes punched in them if I had wanted to. But I did have to check the chickpeas more frequently because no lid meant that soil moisture was going to be lost more quickly. So they needed some water while I awaited sprouts. Keep checking the tray every day or two for signs of germination. Once the seeds have sprouted, remove the humidity dome, pull the tray off the heating mat, and put the seedlings under light. I found that the mustard seeds sprouted the quickest, maybe in about 5 days or so. I also noticed that the germination rates were about 50%, which is terrible for a seed packet, but not bad for this little jar of mustard seeds that I bought 3 years ago. I also noticed that my fennel and cilantro germinated really nicely, probably about an 80% rate. Before your seedlings start to establish, you want to prick them out of the tray and get them into their own individual vessels so they can start to fill out. I let the chickpeas stay in their original vessel because I knew that they weren't going to outgrow their pot ahead of transplanting. And since I had only sown 2 seeds per pot, I also knew that those seedlings weren't going to get in each other's way. And once the weather is favorable, harden your seedlings over the course of a week or so, and then you're ready to get them in the ground. And this cilantro is looking great. It's more than ready to go into the bed. So I'm going to put it in this specific bed because this bed here only gets between 5 and 6 hours of sun a day. And cilantro is very prone to bolting, which means it'll go to seed super quickly if it gets very stressed out. So I want to put it here so the sun isn't just beating down on it all day long. What I can do then is hopefully have a little bit of control over when these cilantro plants go to seed. Now, no need to worry because eventually I want them to go to seed. Why? Because after I'm done eating these delicious cilantro leaves, mixing them into recipes and salsas, then I let the plants bolt and they get to create flowers. And from those flowers come delicious coriander seeds that I can cook into recipes, I can grind into a spice, and I can save some for my next crop of cilantro. Cilantro grows really well in bunches, so I'm not going to separate these plants even though I have between 3 and 4 plants in each pot. I'm just going to remove everything from a pot and transplant it into the bed as if it were one single plant. And then before I'm done, I'll take some cuttings and bring them into the kitchen. Now the plants are going to be a little stressed out, just like any other plant that you transplant. So after you finish transplanting, make sure that you give them a good drink. And the mustard is also looking really great. It's so cool that I was able to just go into the cupboard, get some yellow mustard seed, sow that, and now I have delicious mustard greens getting ready for harvest. I'm going to put them in this portion of the bed here. What's going to be great about this location for them is that they're going to be getting their 8 hours a day of sunlight, but they're also going to get some afternoon shade. And that's going to really lessen the stress on these leaves. These leaves will stay nice and tender unless they get too stressed out. So right here in this garden bed is a perfect location for these mustard greens. Another great thing about mustard is how much of it you can eat. Your tender leaves, you can just pick them off and eat them raw in a salad. If you have any leaves that have gotten a little bit more mature, then you can saute them up and put them into a recipe. And then once the plants bolt and they start to flower, you can actually eat these little yellow peppery flowers. It adds a great zip to a salad. And then you can let some of the flowers just continue to grow. And then they will create seed. And you'll be able to harvest your mustard seed for your pantry or for next growing season. As for my fennel, well, my fennel has thrived. Actually, it probably did a little bit too well in the basement, and I didn't bring it out in time to transplant it and have it continue to grow its greens. These plants have started to bolt, so they're getting ready to create flowers. But from these flowers comes your fennel seed. So it's not game over for these plants, but I'm not going to put them into the garden anywhere. I'm probably just going to continue to keep them in their current pots. I'm going to set them outside. I'm going to let them flower, and then I'm going to let the pollinators do what they do best and help develop these seeds. The good news is I have another batch of fennel that I was growing alongside of these just a couple weeks behind. And I'm going to be able to take these fennel seedlings and transplant them so they can grow up and I can harvest the greens. Now, one of the things that I'm going to do with my fennel that I didn't do with the other plants that I grew from my pantry is I'm going to put them into containers. Reason being is I had never grown fennel before, so I started looking it up. I wanted to see what I could plant fennel near. And I started to find that there's been quite a bit of research done from educational institutions about fennel and how it's very likely what's called allelopathic, which really just for us gardeners, it means it doesn't play well with other plants. So fennel, if planted next to other plants in your garden, could potentially release a chemical through its roots that hinders the growth of those other plants. Now, I haven't experimented with this, and maybe I will someday, but I'm going to trust the experts on this one, and rather than taking the risk right now, the first time I grow fennel, planting it next to my tomatoes and finding that it harms them, I'm just going to plant them into containers, and I'm going to keep them further away from other plants. Now, another consideration when it comes to growing fennel, irrespective of whether it gives off allelopathic chemicals, is that it attracts aphids. So I definitely don't want to plant my fennel near my peppers or my tomatoes. So this time around, I'm comfortable just putting them into containers. It's my first time growing fennel. I don't really want to mess too much with it. So I'll put them in containers, let them grow, harvest the leaves from them, and these here, I'm gonna let them flower and go to seed. Now check out these chickpeas. This is super cool. I planted 2 chickpeas per pot, and I got 6 of the 8 chickpeas to germinate. There's a really impressive germination rate going on, and that just goes to show that some of the stuff that you already have stocked in your pantry or on your spice rack can absolutely be a game changer for you and your garden. Now, chickpeas are legumes, but they're not a vining variety, so you don't have to worry about staking them or worry about them spreading out too far and getting unruly in your garden bed. But one of the things that you can do is you can actually grow them pretty closely together so they can hold hands and they can provide support to each other as they continue to grow. So don't worry about spacing your chickpeas too far apart. You can space them between 4 to 8 inches and be confident that they're going to have room to grow, but they're also going to be supporting each other as they grow. Once your plants are spent, they'll start putting out flowers. This is a great way to get more beneficial pollinators to visit your garden. It also helps your spice plants set seed. And once they do, you can harvest them and add them to your spice rack, and you can reserve some to plant next season. I've said it before, seeds want to grow. It doesn't matter if you got them from a seed catalog, your local nursery, or your kitchen's pantry. And the cool thing about growing seeds from your spice rack is that not only will they grow into plants you can eat, but also, if you let them go to seed, you'll never have to buy those spices ever again. And these are just a few of the seeds that I had in my pantry that I grew out in my garden. There are plenty more where these came from, and I'm super excited about what I'm going to get to grow next. I encourage you to give it a shot and let us know in the comments how it worked out for you. Happy growing.